James Joseph Tunney, better known as Gene Tunney, the Fighting Marine. He had 77 fights with 43 knockouts, fought from 1915 to 1928. He was born May 25th, 1898, and he died November 7th, 1978 in Greenwich, Connecticut. Gene Tunney joined the U.S. Marine Corps during World War I, and in 1919 won the America's Expeditionary Forces in Paris, France, for the light heavyweight championship strap. I'm Scrapbook Boxing, and I would like to discuss Gene Tunney's career with you, right here on the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. We're continuing the series of the Fighting Irishman. And he won a U.S. light heavyweight championship strap in 1922. Gene Tunney would lose his first fight and his first title defense against the Pittsburgh Windmill, Harry Greb. He would regain his title in 1923. That would be the same year that Harry Greb would win a middleweight championship strap from Johnny Wilson. It would be a controversial 15-round decision. It would be in favor of Harry Greb, but the victor would be Gene Tunney. He defeats St. Paul's light heavyweight Tom Gibbons. In 1926, Gene Tunney defeats Jack Dempsey in Philadelphia, and he would shock the world because Gene Tunney was not known as a boxer, not known as a fighter, but more of a scholar. He would know individuals such as George Bernard Shaw. He was a reader, very educational. He didn't have a mean streak, but he had a good jab. I had a trainer by the name of Paul Cavalier. He would train me in Lenny Shaw's boxing gym. That's located in Totowa, in New Jersey. And he told me plenty of stories about his sparring matches with Gene Tunney. He said Gene Tunney was very technical. He had a snappy jab. He was very, 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 very intelligent in that ring. High IQ. And he had a very strong right hand. And he told me that Gene Tunney was favored to defeat Jack Dempsey because in 1926, Jack Dempsey would make a return match. He would actually make a comeback. Took some time off to avoid Harry Wills. Went into acting. And instead of giving Harry Wills his just due, he gave it to the Fighting Marine, Gene Tunney. And Paul Cavalier explained to me about how a lot of the black fighters were avoided during his time. And there was so many negotiation attempts to get that fight made with Harry Wills and Jack Dempsey. So eventually, the money could be made with Gene Tunney. And it was only scheduled for 10 rounds. And the thing with Jack Dempsey, he had an ego about him. It would start to rain and everyone felt cold. Was happy that fight was over. But a rematch would be in order. Chicago's Soldiers Field, 1927. It would be the year of the famous long count. Battling Nelson would have a stopwatch. In the 7th round, he would see Gene Tunney go down. Beautiful combination it was. And by the time Jack Dempsey was pulled over to a neutral corner, Jim Barry would start to count at the count of 6. And Gene Tunney would have time to get up. But he was so hurt, he wouldn't been able to stay away from Jack Dempsey for the remainder of the rounds. He wouldn't been able to use his footwork. He wouldn't have been able to jab. He wouldn't have been able to hold Jack Dempsey by the shoulder blades and turn him and clear his head. But see, that's how you can tell what great fighters are made of. It's not what happens when they hit the canvas. It's what they decide to do when they get up. Either they look to their corner for help, or they look down the barrel of a gun and say, let's get it on, and make a decision to win that fight. Gene Tunney showed his mettle. He would have one more fight in 1928 with Tom Heaney from New Zealand. And he would announce his retirement July 28th of 1928. He became a businessman and wrote a book, A Man Must Fight, in 1932. Autobiography, Arms for Living, in 1941. The year Joe Louis was defeated Billy Conn. Had a son by the name of John V. Tunney, one of 4 children. He became a senator in 1971 and left his seat in 1977. Jack Dempsey would help campaign for Gene Tunney's son. Gene Tunney served his country for the benefit of his community. Gene Tunney, the fighting Marine. Very, very good fighter. One of the best in the Irish community. Thanks for hanging in there with me. This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Salute to my subscribers. Salute to Gene Tunney. Shout out to my brother Curtis Anderson. Salute.